that the law does matter, that these are not minor things that have taken place. This is not the revenge of one person against another. This is what we've always done as a country. There's only us, there's no them. And whenever anyone tells you that there's a them, just run away. I mean, there's no them. It's only us. That's what it's about. And we have lost that. There are no policies that go along with it. It's just a kind of blind adherence to personality. And that doesn't make for a political party, and it doesn't make for the future of a democracy.
Historian and filmmaker Ken Burns sees the writing on the wall. And when he's warning us about something, we should definitely listen.
There is no real choice this November. There is only the perpetuation, however flawed and feeble you might perceive it, of our fragile 249-year-old experiment, or the entropy that will engulf and destroy us if we take the other route.
Burns is by no means a leftist, even prefacing this part of his speech by saying that he couldn't try to stay neutral anymore, which only makes the rest of his takedown of Trump that much more scathing.
The presumptive Republican nominee is the opioid of all opioids, an easy cure for what some believe is the solution to our myriad pains and problems.
Burns is 1,000% right. Trump and the Republicans are following the authoritarian playbook to a T by taking advantage of and playing into the paranoia of the voter base while posturing as the only solution for the base's problems with the country, when in reality, it's all about consolidating power away from the people and into the hands of the real power brokers, the ultra-wealthy.
With him, you end up re-enslaved with an even bigger problem, a worse affliction and addiction, a bigger delusion, James Baldwin would say, the author and finisher of our national existence, our national suicide, as Mr. Lincoln prophesied.
We have already seen and are still feeling the effects of Trump giving the green light to all kinds of bigotry and discrimination to have a safe space in public life. And you are delusional if you think a second term wouldn't bring worse consequences. Right-wing policies, like the ones Republicans support, inherently dehumanize anyone outside of the in-group. But that effect is also felt by the perpetrators. Look no further than Republican rhetoric and policy on immigration, the LGBTQ+ community, reproductive rights, the plight of the Palestinians, etc., to see how their pure resentment toward their targets reveals that the oppressors themselves are devoid of empathy for anyone not part of their team, dehumanizing themselves in the process.
Do not be seduced by easy equalization. There is nothing equal about this equation. We are at an existential crossroads in our political and civic lives. This is a choice that could not be clearer.
Burns' speech got a warm reception from the graduating class at Brandeis University in Boston. And while this segment of his speech gained the most traction, we must highlight another equally important bit that deserves more attention.
Our devotion to money and guns and conspiracies, our certainty about everything, our stubborn insistence on our own exceptionalism, blinding us to that which needs repair, especially with regard to race and ethnicity, our preoccupation with always making the other wrong at an individual as well as a global level.
So many of our country's domestic and international issues can be traced back to the myth of American exceptionalism and our arrogance on the global stage. But to the vast majority of politicians on either side of the aisle, their primary goal is upholding and perpetuating this lie at all costs, whether that be to the American taxpayer or an innocent child abroad. Both pay the price. And like clockwork, there were, of course, some who couldn't stomach the truth Burns was laying down.
We're going to call him and try to get him on next week. He won't come on because he knows this is gibberish. It's just gibberish. And he's basically telling these students at Brandeis, because this is what they want to hear, it's kind of like MSNBC, oh, there's no equivalency here. Oh, no, you got to vote against Trump because he's going to just, wipe out democracy. And based on what? What are you basing that on?
Bill O'Reilly here knows exactly what evidence Burns is basing his claims on, but he also knows his audience would never accept the facts, so he can get away with spewing this nonsense.
What the stakes are, and the stakes now are as high as they could possibly be. It's an existential moment, as I said, and it is something that we have to pay attention to. Thomas Paine says this wonderful thing, that mankind discovers that the strength and power of despotism consists wholly in the fear of resisting it. And that's where I got called. I just finally went,
I have to say something and speak directly. I still don't think I made a choice to be for one thing or the other.
Yeah.
I was for us.
For all the criticisms we have of Burns and his unabashed support of the American system, for someone like him to recognize the dire situation our country is in, while co-opting leftist attitudes about oppression, liberation, and authoritarianism, is an overall net positive, and something that we would love to see more from liberals across the board.